Alright, we should be back. We're gonna watch the last part of this video. Then we'll end the stream.
Doctor Who was originally devised to teach the family viewership on both history and science. The show follows the mysterious Doctor as he travels through a space-time machine dubbed the TARDIS, which is bigger on the inside. The original TARDIS team featured two teachers, Barbara, who specialised in history and would aid her expertise for when the group had ended up back in time in Earth's history, and Ian, being a science teacher, would do the same vice versa for when they ended up in space, landed on an alien planet, or had an extraterrestrial threat that came to Earth. Although due to the immense popularity of the Daleks that were introduced in the second story of the series, Doctor Who would slowly become less reliant on the historical-based stories, and instead the show would embrace sci-fi high concepts, and episodes would become a Monster of the Week scenario. The show would have a restless momentum, albeit with the exception of the main lead. First Doctor actor William Hartnell was growing ill and was struggling to keep up with the show, and was as well not liking the direction that the programme was heading in. The BBC, not wanting the show to end, came up with a canning plan that they would rejuvenate the Doctor, where his face and personality would completely change, giving them the advantage to swap out the William Hartnell Doctor with another actor, with Patrick Troughton homing the reins of being the next actor to play the Doctor. It has now become a staple and tradition for the show, and has allowed it to continue on with new episodes being made to this day, with currently over 14 main actors to play the Doctor. The series is so far the longest running sci-fi show in the world, and one of the very few TV franchises that has maintained an ongoing continuity. Unfortunately, today, it's no longer feasible to watch every single Doctor Who episode. The show was being produced 18 years prior, before the wide market of home media, and reruns as well were not common practice for television as of yet, and were considered to be a dangerous interference of cast and crew's livelihood in the television business. Rerunning old shows would mean that there would be far less of a demand of producing new programming. Archiving and storing footage and shows was and still is an immensely costly investment, thus for very small companies, especially with Britain with its meagre film industry, it was not seen financially viable for storing old programming. Thus many of the irreplaceable master tapes that they were filmed on were simply wiped over. With newer shows, the majority of old BBC programming from this time only survives thanks to 16mm recordings that were created for international use, although these copies are far in inferior quality to the original master copies. But if they were returned back, they would either be destroyed by the BBC, or disposed by the international broadcasters, or to move them on into other foreign networks. Because of how hasty some of these deals were done by, the paperwork for where each show went off to is extremely unreliable. For Doctor Who, the first 6 seasons have completely missing episodes, with Series 3, 4 and 5 having extremely spotty episode counts. Series 4 has some of the most important missing episodes of the whole Doctor Who franchise. Part 4 of the Doctor Who serial The 10th Planet was the first time the Doctor ever regenerated into a new face. Aside from fragments and clips, the whole episode is missing. The preceding serial, Power of the Daleks, the first outing for Patrick Troughton, is completely missing as well, with no surviving episodes. And while every year that passes it seems less and less likely that every Doctor Who episode will be recovered, there is a small light of optimism. Viewers of Doctor Who at the time were recording the audio tracks from many of these stories, which led way to fan group Loose Cannon reconstructing many of these stories by utilising the original soundtrack and using any other original surviving assets, either being photographs, clips, or mocking up new original animation renders to visually aid as to what's happening in the episode. Reconstructed efforts have further extended to the BBC commissioning animations to accompany the audio. While of course it's not the original, fans are still ecstatic of it being the next best thing, and patiently wait for the day where all missing episodes are fully animated, so they can say that they have watched every single Doctor Who storyline. When you consider how niche these projects may be, that there would be very few shows like Doctor Who that would get this level of love for their content of missing episodes. Doctor Who has to be the most easily celebrated franchise with missing media.
Should have been the last thing we watch. Anyway, watch this last pieces next time. Oh, peace. I will catch you for the England and Croatia stream. See you then. One sec. She said, better late than never. Better late than never. Peace.